Hello and welcome. It's Debs here with some practical and simple spirituality. It's all very exciting here at the moment. For those of you that watch my videos, you'll notice the background here is very different to normal. This video is coming from our land. We've actually moved onto the land. I am now living full-time off-grid on the land where we are going to be building our home. So if you've been following that story, there is an updated video of that if you haven't seen, where I take you around outside and show you a little bit about what's going on and talk to you about all of the things that have been happening in the month since I last made a video to update what's happening. But it's super exciting that we are actually now living here in a static caravan on the land, ready to actually start building our home. So talk about conscious creation. It's been an amazing ride and I am super excited about how it is moving forward and how all this is going. So I wanted to talk to you today about something, a huge learning for me during this project and during my spiritual journey, and something that I think is really worth diving deeply into, and that is letting go. So I have a little card next to my bed that I see the first thing when I wake up, and I brought it with me. It's by my new bed now, that says, let go and let God. Because I can really see that we get into trouble as human beings because of the thinking that we have that looks so real and true to us, that we believe that we have to navigate life with that particular thought, or you might call it a belief, or you might call it something, that a truth, you might call it, but it looks to us as if we have to navigate life with that thing, whatever it is, in place. And so therefore we have to find ways around it, and ways to live in spite of whatever this is. And so I wanted to talk to you today about letting go. Because I know, and certainly in my project of the build, that has been a huge thing for me, to actually let go of some of the thoughts, beliefs, some of the things that look so true in my life. For me to move forward to get where I have got to, they have had to go. They can't stay in place. I have to be somebody different. And with those beliefs, they're going to hold me back and hold me down and keep me as the person that I used to be. So to move forward, to have a different experience of life, to create something different to what you've already got, you have to change from the inside out. And change from the inside out happens when we let go of thoughts that arise that look so real and true to us. So I'm going to give you an example of a thought like that. So one of the things that I can see that over time has really held me back is this idea. I run a business, Dare to Be You. I guess you're watching this video because you know that. And I love to share my journey with people. I love to share what I am up to. I love to create retreats and events. We run an annual conference and we run 3 or 4 retreats most years. And I love to do these things. And obviously I've bought this plot of land and I'm building a house on this land. And what I have noticed with all of these things that I'm doing, what I have noticed is a thought that arises in me when I see what other people are up to. Other people that create events or create retreats, things like my conference, or other people who are creating things out in the world. And I listen to what these people are creating, and then my head makes some kind of noise like, oh, well, what you're doing isn't anywhere near as good as what this other person's doing. Or sometimes it might say, oh my gosh, wow, you are so much further ahead of that person. You're doing so much better. But what these thoughts do, when we believe the thoughts like that arise in us, what happens, certainly I'll share what happens when I believe the thought that what I am doing isn't good enough in one sense. It's not as good as what other people out there are doing. When I have a thought that arises in me that says that, and I believe that to be true, then a couple of things might happen from there. Because our behaviors will always come from the thoughts, the actions we take, what we do will always come from the thoughts that we believe are true. Like, we are not free to do just what we want. What we do out in the world, we never create by our actions. We create by the thinking that we are believing to be true, because our actions will always come from those thoughts. So if I have some kind of thought that what I am doing isn't good enough, I have now either given myself a set of things to do. I might have to change my business around. I might have to change the ideas that I have about how I'm going to build, or what I'm going to build, or what I'm going to share about that build. Or I might have to stop sharing, or I might have to stop running my business, depending on those thoughts that arise, what they are making, what they are making it mean about me, about the world, about what's going on. So in a seemingly innocent, it is innocent, a thought that arises when I hear somebody talking about what they're going to do, a thought, oh wow, you know, what you're doing isn't good enough, really. You're not good enough. Will then have any actions I take from there will be informed by that thought. So if we go to what I wanted to speak about, letting go, what I notice about those thoughts, and equally when they are thoughts that put me higher than other people, if I say, oh my gosh, you know, what they're creating is nowhere near as good as what you're doing, that too has the actions that I am taking, who I am being and how I am showing up, comes from that energy, which equally is not a loving, kind, connected energy. So either of those places, either of those come froms, if we can let go of that thinking, something completely different gets created, something completely different happens in the world. And so talking about actually letting go, if we take that thought for me, because that's absolutely a thought that I have had, that I am in some way or other not good enough. What I am doing out in the world isn't good enough. If that thought arises in me, it does not feel good. It makes me hurt inside is the best way that I can describe it. It feels like my heart aches. It does not feel nice. And I don't feel nice towards myself when I'm having thoughts like that. And I often don't feel nice if there is a particular person or organisation or thing that I'm thinking about. I often don't feel nice towards that either, that person or that thing either. So what I have seen about letting go is it's not about, like, we need to put our focus on what we want, not on what we don't want. And that feeling that arises when we do that is warning us that our focus is very firmly on something we don't want, that uncomfortable, not nice feeling, however that shows up in you. So what that feeling is telling me is not to focus there, not to believe that thought. Now, one thing that we can do sometimes, and I have absolutely done this, is to push that thought down, to push that thought away, and then just go, oh my gosh, I'm just going to think something else. But what happens is when that thought is pushed down or pushed away or rejected, it's like that thought is still there, and then I might try and bring in something else, like, oh, you're amazing, what you're doing is great. But what is actually going on, that is very much like putting a smiley face sticker onto something horrible to make it look better. It hasn't actually, nothing has happened to that bad feeling apart from the fact that it's been rejected, squashed down, resisted, whatever you want to call it. What letting go actually involves is looking at that, acknowledging to yourself, yeah, I feel pretty crappy about this. This doesn't feel good. And relaxing into allowing it to be that, and just letting that thought pass. Now, I know something that helped me hugely be able to do that, just see the thought for what it is. You know, Sydney Banks talks about thought and how thoughts create our reality, how thought is the missing link that's between the form and the formless. And so thoughts are, you know, they're quite powerful things. And what I see is recognizing thoughts for what they are is absolutely paramount in being able to let them go. And for me, I know that the work of Byron Katie was hugely helpful here. So Byron Katie has 4 questions. We ask, the first question is that true? And then, can you know it's true? And who would you be without that thought? There's another one and I can't remember. But anyway, the process basically has you looking at the thought that is making you feel so bad, and it enables you. It's a deeply spiritual way of enabling you to see the thought for what it is. So for me, the process of letting go, when I acknowledge, oh yeah, this thing is happening and I don't feel great, what happens when I then look at that thought, not reject it and push it away, when I look at it and look at what it is and what it's doing and who I want to be and the processes that I've done with Byron Katie, like, is it true? Can I know that is true? What happens for me is that thought then dissipates and I can let it go, and then I can focus on what I do want. I can focus on building my business, I can focus on building my house, I can focus on sharing this message and helping as many other people as possible see something in this and find their own freedom, whatever flavour of freedom that is, whatever it is they want to do out in the world. So letting go and focusing somewhere else are really, really key to creation and creating a life you love. But this is not about rejecting thoughts we don't like, squashing them down. It is very much about bringing the thought to light, seeing it for what it is, and letting go, and letting our consciousness, the God within us, if you like, then inspire the next action that we're going to take. Because as I said, every action that we are ever going to take is going to come from the thinking that looks real and true to us. We are not free to simply take any action we want to. If you've ever tried to change an action, like, you know, for example, when people are addicted to something, they have a lot of thought going on there, and if they simply try to do something different, the thinking that looks so real and true to them will just have them continuing to behave in the way they've always behaved. Whereas questioning our thinking and letting that thinking go has us behaving differently. And that is absolutely, I can see a huge amount of that has been what has happened to me during the process of buying this piece of land that I'm now living on, and buying the static caravan, setting all this up here, we're living completely off grid, getting solar panels, getting a water system. Managing to do all that has come hugely from thoughts arising that would absolutely get in my way, and then looking at that thinking, letting that thinking go, and letting my consciousness arise, letting the God within me inform my next actions. So it's been huge to me to see the process of letting go and what it is, and the subtle difference when when we listen to Abraham Hicks, when we listen to Sydney Banks, when we listen to a multitude of spiritual teachers that say to us, don't focus on what it is you don't want, because what we focus on we get more of. But if we are denying our thoughts, if you like, if we are pushing them down or rejecting them, we are actually putting more focus on them. But when we allow them to be there, look at them, question them, see them for what they are, and let them go. And definitely, hopefully even in the words there, you can feel the letting go. It's like they go off our shoulders. They're no longer ours. The burden of that thinking is no longer ours to carry. And when we do that, sorry, my phone was on loud while I was doing this. I do apologise. But that is what is absolutely life-changing. So if you like spirituality, spirituality simplified and and practical spirituality, I'm going to invite you to like, comment and share this video, and let's get this message out there. Let's help as many people as we can to let go of the thinking that gets in their way of them really thriving in life. Have an amazing day, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.